The Wuji is just your standing practice. The goal here is just today is to get the technique. So we use visualization, like we'll talk about balls and stuff, just to help you into the position. But once you learn the position, we get rid of visualization. Breathing wise, you just breathe however you want. We're not trying to force the breathing. We're not trying to do belly. We're not trying to do anything really. So we're trying to work with Wu Wei, which is just doing nothing. But there's a lot to it, and we want to get that first and then switch off from all of that, which sounds, it's counterintuitive almost. Yeah. So you go about shoulder width apart. So we start with planting the feet, so about shoulder width apart. Actually come into the square. I'm just thinking you're on the line of the square and it might be a wee bit uneven. So once you're shoulder width apart, we're going to start at the top and work our way down. So first of all, you want to think like there's a string about here, and it's sort of elevating your head. What that does then is just helps you separate the spine. A lot of time people will elevate from the crown, but when we elevate from the crown, we travel a wee bit backwards and we get locked straight. We don't in the Wuji stance, we don't want to be muscle and skeletal stacked. We want the muscles to hang and the bones just to relax. If we do it from the center, which a lot of people, you'll probably hear a lot of people say, rise up from the crown. So if you try that now, when you rise up from the crown, you pull yourself really straight. So if you rise up from, it's just where I first went bald, from there. So you're rising up from there, and then you slightly roll your head forward. We're not trying to close our chin, we're just tilting like that. Yeah. And then what that's done is open up the back of the neck. Then the easiest way to set the shoulders is take the shoulders out to the side and then just lower them. So what we're trying to do is spread the shoulders, spread the upper back. And usually what happens is people try to force that. So if you just go here again and then just allow it to lower. Yeah. And then when you're here, you're feeling like your shoulders are heavy. Every time I release something, so we're going to go shoulders, elbow, wrist. I don't want to just feel it in my shoulder. I want to feel it in the soles of my feet. If my body's tense, my shoulders relax, nothing will happen. But if my body's relaxed, when my shoulders relax, my weight sinks. So once you've got the shoulders set, you just allow your elbows as well just to be heavy. And then after that is fingertips heavy as well. So I know I said we don't do visualization, but you visualize to get into the stance and then we clear the visualize away. The reason I tell you that is a lot of the time people get stuck in the visualization and they go, God, it really feels like I'm penetrating the earth. And you're like, we want you to be down there, we want you to be in here, so relax. So then when you're here, allow your chest to just sink. So the chest is either high or it's concaved. We want it to come up and then just like the ribs just press down. So you're there. Then your tailbone sort of falls out behind you. So like you're about to sit on a stool or a big fit ball in the gym. So it's not a deep squat and it's not a knees forward. You just allow that to fall. And that automatically makes your knees bent. But you just soften them a wee bit more. So you're there. But when we soften our knees, we soften them back. Our bum goes back. So what usually happens is we'll put our bum back and then we'll go soften our knees and we throw our knees forward. We don't want to do that. We just want to make our bum go slightly further. That will open up the ankles anyway, but just make sure your knees are traveling over your feet. You don't want them to sink in. Yours are fine. So, and then the last thing is you want your feet to be open as wide as you can. But that might mean that, or it could mean that. And then our pressure is here on the foot. So we're looking just behind the ball of the feet. Sometimes you'll rock into your hips, into your heels. That's fine, but just slowly bring it back. So the way I like to think about it is, you know the way your root chakra spirals out and it causes a cone? I like to think if I was sitting on that cone, I could just roll in that. And I wouldn't lose my balance because it's keeping me upright. But then I just want to find the center of that, and I go right there. So see right there, I'm not stacked. I'm not up in a stacked position. I'm relaxed, the arms, everything's hanging. So when you're in that position now, where are you feeling pressure? Are your teeth together or are they loose?
My poor teeth that are grind all the time. Where I'm feeling pressure is around my SI and my glute, my left side.
Right. So then you just sort of shimmy side to side. And you just, so you don't want to be stuck in a uncomfortable position. So if you just relax out of the stance a minute and just give yourself a wee shake. Say if I have, for example, say if I'm shoulders like this and I try to sink and my shoulders here and I go, oh, that's just the way they are. It's going to be very hard to improve that. But if I allow myself to swim about in it a wee bit, then I can recenter. It's not going to automatically fix it, but it's going to sort of teach the central nervous system, this is safe, this is fine. I can actually, because there's probably, it's fired on probably because of an old injury or something.
Surgery years ago, lots of bother.
Aye, so it's fired on going, the central nervous system's going protection. So then when you give it a wee wiggle and you go, no, look, this is fine, this is safe, and then you...
It's not pain, like it just was...
Aye, just... so when we start off, we want to find the tightness and the heaviness, because tightness and heaviness will turn to pain if we just force it. So in the Tai Chi class, I always say no grimace, because people will be holding a posture like this. And face will be so struggling. I'm like, is that comfortable? Oh, aye. It does not look it. So if I'm grimacing here and I lower and I go, oh, this is fine, that's enough. And I'll slowly build. So with the Wuji is the same idea. You want to be able to, that's why I'd said at the very start, you want to be able to switch off your breathing, just let the body breathe. You want to switch off your visualization, just let the body be. So then you just notice, I've been standing here for ages. Instead of, right, I'll do 20 good breaths, or I'll time this for 5 minutes or whatever it is. So just give yourself a wee wander. And then you're going to go into your Wuji again, and you're going to hold for 30 seconds. I'm not going to set you up. I'm going to let you go into it. And then you can tell me if you notice any difference whenever you go in or what's going on with it. And you just hold for about another 20. And you're just allowing your breath to do whatever it wants. You're not trying to force it. You're not trying to be in control of the breathing. You just allow it to be. Allow your jaw to relax. If it's tight, just allow it to relax. And then you can just relax out of the stance. When you're doing this bit, you did it flowery. You just flowered. So what we want you to do is press and then go down. So this is where it helps where it's just the two of us, because it'd take me longer to spot. Aye. So when I'm pressing,
Well, that would have been one of my physio things years ago, to stretch that and then do this to give you an extra stretch. To separate.
Aye.
You know, so I do understand this movement.
So but we want it. See, when you're doing that, there's tension. We want the easiest way to do it is put your hand out like this. If you don't mind me touching your hand, I'll just do one. It's fine. If I'm here and I'm stretching, this is stretching. You feel the way I pushed you back and I sort of traveled. This is much more subtler.
Okay.
That's opening. So it's like, the way I think about it when I started was, I'm opening the tendons and muscles that I don't know exist. Because if I just think, open my shoulders, I know them, I can easily go, oh, that's a shoulder, that's an elbow, that's a wrist, I know what they are. But the muscles underneath it, I don't know. How to open them, don't know. So I need to let the body. So I feel that through, and then allow it to drop. Yes, that's much better. Probably just because you've obviously got imbalances, so it's not going to fix everything. You don't look 65 here, lady.
Well, I mean, 65 years of.
And you didn't live quietly by the sounds of you, the amount of injuries you give yourself. So you're just lowering. Yeah. And then the other part was you fixed it, but first you went forward with your knees, but then you did fix it, which is great. But ideally, you just don't go forward at all, and then you just settle. So your neck and everything was fine. Shoulders a wee bit up, that's fine. It's just going to take time to realign everything. And even if it doesn't fully fix anything or realign it fully, it'll still teach the body to relax, not hold that tension. Because we always think, oh, my shoulder, it's just my shoulder, but it's everything. It's the scapula, it's the eye. So it works the whole way down. So you're just going to sink back into that and just allow the arms to go. Again, the shoulders are heavy, wrist is heavy, or elbow heavy, wrist heavy, right down to the fingertips are almost, in my head, they're trying to touch the ground. And that puts more weight in my feet. And I check in with my feet and I go, well, where is my weight? Is it back here in my heels? Is it way over here in my toes? Or is it in the center where I want it to be? And then the last point, you're going to hold, you can relax for a second, then you're going to hold for another minute. So when we do the Wuji and the 5 elements, we rep it out very subtly. We do like 30 seconds on, maybe a minute off, 30 more, or 45, or max a minute initially. But because you've been doing meditating and stretching already, there's a good chance you'll go, I could do 2 minutes here. But don't go, I could do 20 minutes. Yeah. So it's simple in its complexities is the way that I would put it. It feels almost like nothing's happening. But over time, you'll build it. Like my actual practice is this one. But this is the initial starting practice. But this is the Wuji that I will personally initially practice. But this is the one I do in Lidl when I'm in a queue. I throw all my stuff there. It's so subtle, nobody notices. Like everybody else is standing on their phone. I just sink, or I stick the kettle on to making tea for somebody. This is my subtle Wuji position. So you can do it anywhere without being like this in the middle of Lidl. Might. I'm just thinking they sell loads of stuff. If you do it by the skiing area, it might look all right. I'm thinking about these skis. It's fine. So you're here. The last point is there's 2 points, one on the center of each hand. You stretch them open. But again, it's so subtle. But this is my hand normally, and that's my hand stretching open.
Okay.
I'm not flaring here. My fingers are, so the way we think about it is imagine a ball here, a wee ball here, and then they all stay, and then this. Okay. So again, So, and what I find is helpful is sometimes I do it wrong. So I feel, right, that's what wrong feels like, and then I relax, and then I go, oh, that's way different.
I like this. It's as if it's slightly cupped, is that right?
It will initially start cupped, and then over time, it'll just open up. So again, the way, if you're thinking of energy purposes, it's the same idea. So they're Lao Gong points, and there's 2 of them here. So a lot of when we do the standing postures, we're pointing them at certain other positions. Sometimes we're pointing them away from us, but we're gathering chi from somewhere else. But so once you're in your stance, you're just allowing those to spread open. So if you go again, just set yourself up. We'll count the setup and getting in, be in a minute. So this is the new thing you have to think of. Just stay where you are. But think about, yes, I'm opening up the points of the hand, but the shoulders, the elbows, and the wrists are still switched off and heavy. Yeah. Good. So whenever we bring our focus to our hands, we tend to do a wee bit of a robot arm after because initially you've done nothing. So it's easy to do nothing, let them go. So it's keeping that full freedom of the arm whilst opening the hand. So if you do it once more, remember to fully press out here. Allow them to drop. And then once you're in the stance where you're comfortable, mentally go back to your head, check what your neck's doing, shoulders, hips, knees, ankles, feet. And then, because usually what happens is whenever we are fixing one area, another area sneaks out. Our bodies are cheaters. Our body will want to find a way to make this easier. So if it can, it will. About 20 more seconds, so just allowing the body to relax. And then again, just come out of the stance and relax yourself. How does that feel now that you're doing it?
I thought it was wobbling a bit.
Good.
Is
Yeah.
it good?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So we're back to what I was saying about if I just pick this wee line here, if I'm in the center of this line, and in my head the root chakra's going down and spirals out like a cone. If I set myself here and I'm fully locked in, I'm not going to go anywhere. But if I start to relax, the body micro adjusts.
I felt it was moving slightly now and again.
Aye. If you had your eyes open, you wouldn't even probably really notice. But when we close our eyes, it feels like we're doing this. We're like, God, I'm all over the show. And then you open your eyes and you're like, yeah. So that's a good thing again. You're just settled in the stance. It's too tight for me. You're just settled in the stance. And then, so now I've put my weight in my heels purposefully. And I'm trying to put more weight through my body, relaxing more. My body has to come forward to support that weight. It can't. If I start to lift my weight higher and higher, it can go onto my heels and throw me backwards. But I'm putting the weight, my weight's in my heels at the minute, and the more I sink, the more my body adjusts, and then I just find myself just traveling forward, and then it recenters again.
And is there an ultimate length of time, that you would do this for, or is there a max that you should only do it for?
There's no max that you could only do it for. If you were to do this all the time, like a lot during your week, by the end of the year, you'd be looking for a 20-minute comfortable stand. But that's Qigong and Tai Chi is a slow journey. So if you did 5 minutes every single day, that's better than once. Yeah.
Okay, I hear you. That's probably what I was asking you.
So that's why I talk, you'll see on my socials, so much about daily practice. I don't want people to go, oh, I didn't do it for a while since the last class, so I just did an hour yesterday. You're like...
That's what years ago about physio, you did it the night before you went back to physio. And you did maybe twice a week, you did 10 of this. But you were doing 10 of this, like you weren't doing 10 quality. So
yeah.
it took a slow learner. It took me a while to learn that.
Here, at least you learned.
Yes, appreciate that it's the slow quality. It's quality as opposed to quantity.
Yeah, so when you're doing this, and you do 30 seconds, and then have a wee break, and you just wander about, you go back to your normal stance now. So let's say this is my normal stance: rolled shoulders, compressed chest, hips are sunk.
Well, is it that your normal stance should
Yeah.
Okay.
So when we go back to here, then because your self-awareness improves, most people don't know they're doing this.
No.
But if you're doing a 10-minute session every minute you do 30 seconds, every time you set yourself up, you'll be like, why am I so? And you'll go, God, that was a while out of adjusting. So then the next 30 seconds rest, you'll go, oh, my shoulders. So you become aware. So then your day-to-day life, you just catch yourself and you start to walk a wee bit better. So initially it takes time. You have to build the initial strength. That's why I would have advised people when they're doing any of this stuff to do some sort of strength work as well. And that could be just mini squats. Like if you were every day doing, say, 20 of these as an easy example, then if you are comfortable being here and here, this is easy. So whenever I first started training martial arts, the master showed me the 7-step horse stance, which is this. And I just did this for 3 months. Then when I flew over for a weekend, for my first full weekend in England, the stance we had to do was this upper horse stance. And everybody who was there was wrecked. Their legs were shot because you're in a bent position, except me, because I had spent 3 months there. So to me, this was, in my head, I was standing. I think it's just standing, comparatively. So over time, if we talk about the breath for a second, the breathing that we work on, the first step in the breathing is quiet. We just want your breathing to be quiet. That's it. So you don't have to try to breathe deeply, belly breathe, number breathing, any of it, just quiet. When you breathe quiet, it automatically makes you breathe deeper. It just happens. So if you can get this one, you don't have to think about these ones. Doing the one just creates a ripple effect. So then you're breathing deeper, which means you're breathing into your belly, which is the natural breathing, passive abdominal breathing is what we want. Then when you're breathing deeper like that, you start to breathe with more ease. That just keeps building until that's your natural. I know a lot of people will do like fire breathing, belly breathing, nostril breathing, all sorts of breathing in their class. And then you meet them in real life. And they're high, shallow breathers. You're like, that's not the point. The point is you do this so much that this becomes your normal. And then you'll notice it more the more you do it. Even standing in a queue, you'll hear people, 3 or 4 people away from you, breathing. And then you go, I haven't heard myself breathing in a long, because you don't need to. So whenever you're doing that, the more you do it, so we do sets. So if you took 10 minutes in your day, 30 on, 30 off, you're going to accumulate about 5 minutes of the posture a day. That's loads. So that could be when we're, a lot of the time, when we stand stacked, and ladies tend to hyperextend their knees, so then you're really stacked here. So when we start to sink that, our body wants to sink straight and our hips pulled forward.
I imagine it's just that I'm in a position that I'm not normally.
Yeah. So that's what the last part of it. We're getting you just to sit back like you're sitting on a stool or a ball or something. So the coccyx is open, the sacrum is open more than it usually is. And same what will happen if your shoulder's here, it's not this high obviously, but if it's here, it means this is tight and this is stretched. And then if we lower it, it means this is stretched and this is tight, even though now they're in the right place. But the body's so used to the other way, it'll go, what's going on here? No, we don't go there, we go here.
It's just an awareness, it's not complaint.
No, that's what you want. That's the whole goal of why I was saying about this will become natural, because you become aware. So you go, God, that affects my lower back. So then you could do, like we hip movements where you're just lifting your hip and pushing your hip back without moving anything else. So you're just opening it, but it's a wee strength builder. And then over time, you can do a version of that where you keep your hip tilted and you lift. You sure you're putting a weight on. So then you keep it tilted and then you lift. And then over time, you can lift and hold and just developing. So all these stances will help that. But there's a few wee things that you can do to speed the matter up. Like for me, because when I've trained, I love pull-ups way more than I love doing benching. So my shoulders used to be here because my back was so compressed and strong compared to my chest. So my chest didn't have the strength to keep me back. So then when I started to focus more on my Qigong, I just started doing a lot of hanging on the bar because that opened everything up, because it was just faster than trying to constantly open it this way. This will still do it, but there's wee things that you can do that'll help matters. Same as if you think of whenever you're in your seated meditation, you just pay attention to what you're doing. So I was explaining it one day to the guy, say if this is a chair, we have a tendency to sit like this, forward. You don't sit like that? Good. Do you sit in the other way, which is back? Cool. Well, then you're already doing what I would have been telling you to do. So most people will sit either at the back of the chair and be forward, or at the front of the chair and be back. And then they go, when I get up from watching a show, my back was wrecked. And you're like, yeah, of course it does. Like holding your arm like this and go, my arm's well sore. And you're like, yep. But because it's normal and it's the same for a lot of people will sit always with one, and then they go, my hips are off, and you're like, do the other side, and they go, they can't even get it up, never mind sit in it. So it's just having that awareness and that switched on. Have you any questions on the Wuji? Happy you understand what you're doing and why you're doing it? Everything grows out of the Wuji. So the 5 elements that we're going to work with are, so the Wujis are just neutral. So when I go to do my 5 element practice, I do a wee center here first. I don't just jump into the practice. This is the thing that I'll do if I have no time. For whatever reason, like I have no time to do anything today. I'm not going to go, well, I really like this move, so I'll do it. I'll do my Wuji because the Wuji...
Oh, of course, I appreciate that.
So it's... Yeah, and that's what helps switch me off. And so the Wuji, everything grows out of the Wuji. All these stances, postures are linked to one of the 5 elements. And the easiest, I'll go through it as we do it, but the elements all work in a cycle, but they also affect each other in a cross pattern as well. So the first posture is wood, and it's called hold the ball. And basically what you're doing is you're raising about shoulder height, your elbow is lower than your shoulder, and your wrist is higher than your elbow. It's about in line. I like this to think like I'm holding a football. And then the easiest way to do it is shrug your shoulders first, and then just allow them to. So when they open, our shoulders work in a ball joint, so they shouldn't go from here down because they're still stuck. They should, because of the position I have my hand on, they should, but not that super. Hand-wise, we have a wee ball here, 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 and a wee one there, and then we're spreading this still. And we're thinking like this is pointed straight at our chest. So that's your posture. And then when you're holding that posture, so just relax your thumbs. So when you're holding that, think of everything else. Are your shoulders sunk? Is your hips relaxed like you're sitting on a... So if we were thinking in terms of imaginary balls, there's one between every finger. There's one big giant one here. There's one behind us that we're sitting on, and there's one between our legs that's keeping our legs apart. And that's your wood posture. Just relax out of it for a second. So I like to relax out of it. I just switch off. Okay. When we're learning things, we'll relax like this. Okay. So if you just get in the habit of, right, that's that done. And that, if you put your arms up here, and then just drop them, they should swing in a triangle, or part of a triangle. An arrow would make more sense than a triangle, because that, again, it's a rolling joint. If you're finding yourself tense and you notice, God, my arms are swinging out here, you're not switched the shoulders, so they just come from there, and then the last part of the wee joint of the elbow will move. So that's how I like to, especially if you're holding this for time, even if you're doing 30 seconds on, 30 seconds off, you can get a bit of tenseness in the shoulders, and you'll go, God, what happened there? So it's just allowing that. So if you go back into you can always, if you want, when you're initially set your Wuji and then rise into it. So just a wee bit higher with the elbows. So you should have a fist width apart under your armpit, your own fist, however wide that is. And that's, so generally when you're measuring your own body thing, you measure by so an inch in your body is this to here, that's an inch, but this is probably longer than yours, so your inch, it's yours depending on yours. So then relax there, and then you spread the point in the center of the hand, and you allow that to sink. It's just, so whilst you're holding that, go to your feet and ask yourself, where is my weight? So again, I won't know. Unless you do something dramatic, I'm not going to know where it is.
It's in the center, I guess.
Perfect. And the same thing with the breathing, you just breathe just as normal. And then just relax out of it. Wood fuels fire. So the fire posture is just up at eye level and a diamond with your hands. And I'm just looking through that diamond. So I'm going from about here to there. I'm not raising from my shoulders, really. It's more an elbow raise. The shoulders obviously are going to come up, but that's not where the focus is. And then you look through that. And then just sink back again with your hips. Your knees have traveled a wee bit forward. So it's an awkward one, but you want to sink back whilst keeping your weight in the center. It should almost feel like you're pushing your bum too far out the back initially, and then over time it's fine. And then the same idea, we've got the magic ball here, we've got one around here, and we've got a diamond, and then the hands are still open and this is still spread. So it's a diamond, but it's not touching. And then just relax out of it.
Do you relax out of it from the wood, or do you go from wood to fire? When you're up here, do you do that? Or do you do, and then go back in? Do you understand? Does that make sense?
It depends on your practice. Oh. So what we're going to do once you learn them is we're going to do a wee flow drill where we'll go through all of the postures. But if I'm finishing here, I just relax and I let myself center back in Wuji. If this is my end, like it's my switch off physically looks very abrupt. Like if there was no mental side to any of this, and I'm just like, that looks abrupt. But because I'm so tuned into the body, then the body's not switching. Like my arms are just going down. It means too that over time you'll be able to practice the posture single-handedly. You don't have to. So you're doing two, but we're just going to learn the 5, and then we'll go through a wee flow drill off them as well. Just show me the fire one again.
Fire one again. Okay. Go back from this every time?
Aye, yeah.
Sorry, I'm jumping.
So right, open your eyes again.
To that, yeah.
So just look at me for a second. None of it matters. None of it matters. So if you go, oh, I just went, that's fine. Just go there. If you go, what matters is when you frustrate yourself and shouldn't is. So the Wuji, Remember today, you're learning 6 postures you've probably never done before. So if you don't know 100%, that doesn't matter. But if you do know the goal is to sink your weight, be self-aware, and allow your breathing to be whatever it is, none of this matters. I can't do this because I know I need to sink my weight, but my hands can be out here. So just relax. Yeah. Shoulders now just sink. Yeah. So see the way what that did there? You sunk your shoulders, your whole body just fell into place. When we push here, we're raising our center of gravity. So woof. Cool. So then if we just flow from them, just relax the hands at the side. You just go wood. And then the wood posture feeds fire. And then the fire turns to earth, which is down here. So it's going to, annoyingly at the start, this feels like Wuji. But the difference is Wuji is just fully here. We need this space between our armpits without lifting our shoulders. Our elbows, that means our elbows travel out, and then our fingertips actually are active. There. So the Wuji, we're still making them be weighted, but we're not.
See the difference?
Yeah. So this is, initially when we do visualization, I visualize fingertips into the ground.
Why have you got your right thumb bent and your left?
Just happens. Because this.
Deformity, is it?
No, it's just this hand's tighter.
Okay.
So
No, I just wondered.
this is my camera hand. So when I'm running about, so my tendons, so I have to do a lot of loosening up. So if I relax my hands and try not to think about it, when I push down, the tendons tighten, so it forces my thumb. Whereas this isn't my camera hand, so the thumb does whatever it wants. So this is why we get our posture. Then I check my head, shoulders, elbows, wrists, fingertips, and then that's when I'll go, oh. And then we go here. Then I go hips back, knees are forward and out, ankles are stable, feet are open. So if you don't move but look, you'll notice this is straight and this is turned in.
Is it?
Yeah. But it's going to be turned in. Again, now if you just relax out of that stance completely, it's going to be turned in because this shoulder's super tight. So now as you're loosening that down, the slack has to be lifted somewhere. So as that goes down this, so that ends up with that wrist turned in and that wrist straight. So the same thing, we do our posture and then we go, they do not feel the same.
Should I do it in front of a mirror or not?
Yeah, if you're comfortable in front of a mirror, just don't, like there's a mirror over here. Don't set yourself up and then like rapid scan. People get caught and they try to micro, then there's no micro adjusting. But what you can do, the way I would use a mirror, at the end of my practice, so say I've been doing Wuji for my 10 minutes, end of the practice, I would go over, get in front of the mirror and close my eyes, redo my Wuji, then open, and then go, oh, I see this shoulder's a bit high. Don't try to find loads of faults. You've already done the practice, so this, you might have started here, but then by the end you're like here, which is almost down. So when you set yourself back up, you open your eyes, you go, oh, this hand's like, the way I'm standing at the minute, this hand's way lower now because I overcompensated when I was looking at you to talk to you. And then when I came back, so that you'll notice that, and then you just, oh, that's what that feels like when it's straight, and then go on. If you start just in the mirror, you'll spend. We don't want that. So if you go back, just do the earth one. Yeah, that you so. Yeah. Well, you will do because you're just learning it, but over time you'll get over that. But if it does help, you went straight in, and then you ended up back where you already started.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
So sometimes we'll think, right, I'm in the stance, now I need to fix it. But check it sometimes. So just check first and go, actually, no, I'm good. And then you can just switch off for 10, 15 seconds, and then recheck, and then you go, oh, my weight's in my heels. That's something I've noticed a lot in the classes. People will set their posture up really well, really nice, and then as they hold, and I don't know why, they just slowly go backwards. The only thing I can think is because when I talk about the micro adjustments with your eyes closed, feeling like a lot, they feel like they're going back a bit, so then they fix it. And then they feel, right, so they've went too far, and now when they fix that, they feel like they've went back, but they haven't. They've went to the heels. So check, go into your stance, check in with yourself, then fix everything. But 50 minutes ago or however long ago it was, you had to do the opposite of that because you'd never done it before. You had to set your stance up. So now you can go, I know it's something like this. Now I'll go to my head. All right. Now I'll go to my shoulders. They're fine. Elbows. They're fine that way. But at the very start, because you have to learn it, you have to do everything. I still like this as a starter just because it helps open people. So we just flow through those so that you can see them. So we're here. And then here. And then here. And then from here, we do metal, which is hold the belly. So it's basically hold the ball, but as if we have a belly. We're just holding there. And you're directing the points at your dantian, which is in the middle and about 1.5 inches below belly button. So same idea, same fist width apart underneath. Elbows are still out, hands are turned, thumbs are holding. Yeah. And then everything else in the stance is exactly the same. And then just relax out of it. Then go into that one whenever you're ready. So just pull your elbows a wee bit more. Yeah. It's hard to find the lines. You've pressed out so far that you can't really go low without it being a different shape. So you're basically just, if you went from your sides, you'd just be coming around a big beer belly. Or a Qi belly is what all the masters used to call it. That's my Qi belly. You'll get one when you're my age. So you're there. And now find your coccyx or your tailbone dropping back. Knees soft, centered, weight, shoulders down, jaw relaxed. And just hold that. And then just relax out of that one. So just try to lift from your hands into it. Yeah. Instead of from your shoulders.
Oh, okay.
You're lifting, that's why you're having to readjust so much. You're lifting from your shoulders.
Well, if you go from earth, that makes sense. Like.
Yeah. But even then, even if we go from here, we just lower the whole shape. And if we go from here to fire, we just raise the whole shape and turn it. So it's keeping, if you're here and you're using shoulders, you're just effort. These are even this stance here is another one that over time, like by a year, you could hold for 20 minutes comfortably. And you're not going to feel like the lactic acid buildup because you're not, all the muscles and the tendons and sinew are all working together and your body will just settle and then your body rests there. So we'll just go through all of them and add the last one in. So we're here and then we're here. So remember there's a bit of a lift in that Yeah, so it's almost like I'm looking. The easy way to describe it is you're looking through your third eye rather than your eyes. That, yeah. So right here, and then that. So this is earth. So wood feeds the fire, which turns to ash, which is earth, and then earth creates metal, and then metal can be melted into a liquid. So this is water. So same distance here. Elbows are relaxed, hands are out. This is like you're holding two wee footballs in a stream. So it's all of these stances should be alive, which you'll see better when we do the flow drill after this. But they're here. This is the space, the elbows out. Their shoulders are still sunk, and you're still opening up those parts, and then everything else is just doing what it has been doing. And you're just there. Just you stay there. I'm trying to see what your elbows are. Just give your elbows a wee turn. So yours are like that. So we're almost just turning the point of the elbow down at an angle, just creating that wee space. So you're just, and then, yeah. So see the way that wee sink, just drop the shoulders, drop a wee bit. You don't want to be flaring them. You just want them rotated slightly and your hands there. And now your knees are coming forward, so just sink back. Yeah. And then relax out of it. So just remember, sometimes your weight can stay in, my weight is in the ball, just behind the ball of my foot, but my knees are too far forward. But if I only think of feet, I feel fine. So I want my position to be, I want my knees maximum are in line with the ball of the foot as well. So then if I feel right now my weight's too far forward, I need to drop my hips. And now my weight's forward, my hips are back, so that's when, but see, once I lifted my shoulders, my hips came with them. So then I drop them and I go, oh, here I am. So they're there. We have a tendency when we're doing stuff to the body will just readjust to make it easier. So then when you find the posture, you can just sink into it much better. And then just relax out of it. And then again, when you relax, if you need to, you can just move if your legs are stiff. So this is one of the things I tried to point out in the men's only class that I was doing. Some of them would come to me the next week and go, my legs are killing me. And I'm like, you've been standing for an hour and a half. When's the last time you did that? So even if you're not doing a load of, like we're not doing a big physical exercise class, but even if it was the only thing that you stood for an hour and a half. Go into the water posture. Just relax the elbows. So you could just pull them in a wee bit more, yeah. So see again, once you pull that in, the bottom.
So you called that liquid the last time, the first time?
Oh,
That's what threw me about water.
Yeah.
Actually, I couldn't, I was trying to think, what's water?
So,
As wood.
the metal can turn into metal can turn into liquid. So this is water. I mightn't even have got as far as saying
Yeah.
this is water.
No, yeah.
So think the elements. So it's
I was thinking water, and I thought he said liquid.
liquid. It's normally I get asked where there's no air. Well, there's no air. I'm like, oh, it's the breathing. They just didn't have it. I don't know. It wasn't the one. So just relax out. So we're going to just do the wee flow of it. So we start off in Wuji. We're going to flow through a couple of times, and I'll add a bit of time as we go. But initially, just learning it. So Wuji, and then we just move up into wood. And we just hold the wood position. And as I'm doing this, initially will do wee scans just up and down. What are my knees doing? What are my hips doing? And then move into your fire. So fire is a harder one to hold. So there's a good chance more tension just appears because your hands are high and you're trying to hold it. And then open up and down to earth. And then metal. So remember your armpit distance. Yeah. And then out the water. And from there we just travel back wood. Fire. Earth. Metal. And water. And then your Wuji again. Just relax the arms to the side. And then just relax out of the stance.
Pardon?
And then just relax. Yeah. How was that?
Good.
So you can see when you get the flow in there, it just slowly just switches everything.
So is it like 5 seconds for each when you're doing the flow, or?
There's a YouTube video of this as well. I just do 2 minutes or a minute and a half or 2 minutes, I can't remember, but it's not a lot. When you're doing it on your own, you can just, so say when you're doing it on your own and you're a bit tired, for example, you might hold here for 30 seconds. And then you go here and you're like, that's causing tightness in my back. I'm not going to hold, and just don't hold it as long. And then you go here, and this is easy, so you go, oh, I'm just going to stay here for a while. You might do a minute and a half. And then you just come back. Here's not too bad, so maybe another 30. And then again, the second round, then you might go, oh, my back's still tight. And you do even less time. But then you hold these longer. So it's about working, building that self-awareness. So like, if I've had a really heavy training week, like I used to wrestle on a Thursday night and then come in and teach Qigong in the morning, on a Friday morning. And sometimes I'd be going, right, just, no, you go further than me, as will be as far as when you're supposed to go here.
Yes.
But my body would be like, no, this is today. And then I go to lean back and it would be like, no. And I'd be trying to explain to it, no. You lean right back as far as you can. This is as far as I can go. And this is as far as I can go. So if you want to do the 5 elements, but you're having a day where you're just tight, just do it nice and slow. So the last way we're going to add to these now. So I skipped over doing the top.
God, you walked over there and I thought you were going to go.
Kettlebell. We're going to do 16 kettlebell swings. Sometimes, to be fair, like if you are in a gym where you have kettlebells about,
I do.
so you could,
I'm only 6 kg.
let's do 2 8s as an example. I could go, what does it really feel like for my arms to be heavy? You go, well, that's what it feels like. So then I pick my stance and I go, Then I put them away and go, how close to that am I? God, I'm up here. So the weight is really helping you get that descent. But I'm not just doing this where the weights are beside me. I'm still out a wee bit. And I go, oh, that feels like that. So that's how my shoulders feel when they're fully sunk. And then you can, but again, not essential. So the last thing is, when you're practicing these moves, you can just pick one. Like, I'm just going to do wood today. Or hold the belt. You just pick one. You don't have to flow. When you're doing the flow drill, you'll get this because of doing Tai Chi. So I'll demonstrate it a wee bit sideways so you can see it. I'm not going from here. I know when I was teaching it, I did, but it's just so you could learn it. So we're going here to here, to here, to here, out. I want them to be alive. So you see my whole body's So they're alive, and then they settle, but the settle is not dead. It's not alive and dead, it's alive and settled. So when I'm here, I'm almost bringing in, but my body, if I do it without hands, there's a way, the body's, I settle, but I'm still sinking in my stance, stretching up. So my bones are going up and my muscles are going down. I'm still stretching up. And then when I go to the next one, it's an open, live posture. When I come, here's pretty much the same because I'd have to do something dramatic, which we don't need to do. So here, but there's still a wee bit of movement in the body. And then a settle, and then the same settle, and then from there. So we're going to go through 5, again, like we did, but just alive. Sometimes it helps to just think flamboyant, like over-exaggerate the movement, and then over time, that over-exaggeration will just become a nice, subtle move. So we start off in our Wuji. So we just settle there. We always just settle here. It gives a chance to switch into it because I just fired a load of information at you. So now you're... And then from there, it's just... They just come up and out. And then they just settle on that ball. And then when you're going into fire, you're almost drawing in to press out. Yeah. And then it's an open, a nice wide open, and then a press down. Yeah. And again, just checking our feet and our shoulders and just what's going on as we go. And then we're rounding off to hold the belly. Just pull your elbows in a wee bit. Yeah. Relax that thumb. Yeah. And then out. To allow the elbows to just flay a wee bit. The hands a wee bit down. You're trying to be about wrist and waist, about in line. About there. And then I'm pulling my wrists up to hold the ball in the water. And then from there, we're back. And then the fire. And then the earth. Metal. And the water. And then back to Wuji. And just come out of your stance and give yourself a wee shake and a wee walk. And then the fun bit, you're going to do that once on your own. Oh. So the most important thing for you to remember now when you do this on your own is what I said earlier. None of it matters. Okay. So if you go... I know from one to the other, I don't do it. Yeah. If you just go... If I see you're struggling, I'll just shout one at you. But don't stress or
I think that's where age and ego, when you allows you to do that. Like years ago, God, I would have died of death if he had said that to me.
Aye. Aye, ego.
I mean, in my head, like,
yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
Aye. People's ego is generally the reason why they overthink so much.
Totally.
So in your own time, How was that?
Good, good.
Yeah, perfect. That was it. Spot on. That was, you flowed well. It didn't even look like you were going, what's next? Because I get that a few times. People will super relaxed and go, oh, I fire. So say if you are doing it, you didn't do this, so you probably won't do it, but just so you know, in case it happens, if you can't remember and you're thinking what's next, when you do remember, don't just go to it. So a lot of people will go, oh, I fire.
Okay.
So you go,
Yes,
oh, it's fire.
yeah, no.
Then stay there and then fire. And then you go, right, what is next? So if I can't remember, I'll just stay here. So when you're here, if you go, hold the belly, oh shit, no, it's fire. Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Just go there and then you can go back to fire if you want. So that's why I told you at the very start, the 5 elements work in a circle, but they also work that way in that circle, and they also all interact. Like if you think about it, water fuels trees, hold the ball, the wood, but water also puts out a fire. Like water also sinks into the earth. So they all feed off everything. So you know you have, this is the most important one to get, because if you don't have this right, if this is off, everything's off. So this is the only one that really takes a lot of thinking, because once you have that, the next, all you do is this and put your arms in a different place. So if I was doing this one, it's the same stance, just my arms are here, and then I change a slightly different stance because I have more depth in it. But if I do a high version, it's just the same. My stance is, obviously I'm doing this super robotic, but the stance is the same. It's just the 5 positions.